Hey everyone, my name is Jack. Welcome back to the channel. I cover a variety of topics as they relate to real estate investing, the markets, and pretty much everything as it has to do with personal finance. So if you like that sort of content, be sure to have a look around the channel. And if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe. But in today's video, I want to talk about Meet Kevin, the famous YouTuber who's very big into the real estate space, but also the stimulus news and all sorts of other topics as they relate to personal finance as well. Definitely recommend checking out his channel if by chance you haven't heard of him, yet you clicked on this video anyways. But I want to talk about the 5 factors that I think are primarily driving his success on YouTube. As of the filming of this video, he is approaching 1 million subscribers. And he's seen a meteoric rise in the last few months, and I want to try to get to the bottom of what actually caused this and how he got to the point where he is now. Before I get into the 5 factors, if you guys like this video, definitely leave it a like since it helps the video and the channel out a lot, and leave a comment about your thoughts about Kevin's success, or if you just want to leave a comment for that good old algorithm. But let's get into the first factor. One of the main things that drives any YouTuber's success, at least from what I've seen, is that they have a unique style in their videos. I don't want to say that this is straightforward, since it's kind of hard to manufacture a style. You really just have to be yourself, or if you're not being yourself, you really have to have a sort of amazing talent to act as some other persona on the camera. And I'm sure Kevin deviates away from his actual in-person persona at least somewhat on camera. I've never met him in person. I do hope to one day. But I can't think of any other YouTubers, at least in the finance space, who have his sort of style. But about his style, when I first started watching Kevin back in 2019, a little over a year ago now, he had a very off-putting persona in my opinion. He's described his own style as very nasally, and maybe it sounds a little arrogant sometimes, and I think that's kind of true. He does kind of sound like that sometimes, but for some reason it just kind of grew on me, and I think it's grown on many of his core followers that have grown to love him too, because he realized that it's often an unfiltered opinion about something, and that's really great for providing value actually in these videos. So even if you might not like his delivery per se, it often gets right to the point and gets to whatever Kevin is thinking, and he'll explain why he thinks it as well during each of his videos. So that's really good, and I think is one of the main drivers of that unique sort of content that he creates. And really, he's a weirdo. He embraces it. I mean, he just did a whole video about his RuneScape themed background on his phone, which had nothing to do with personal finance, but it just shows his persona. He's a weird guy, and he loves being a weird guy, and that's great. And weird is not bad. It's really genuine when he's showing what he actually likes and what he cares about, things from his childhood that he appreciates, and he'll weave those into the video with little references that only some people might actually understand, and I think that's great. It adds a sort of personal flair to all of his videos, which kind of parlays into the second factor that I think drives Meet Kevin's success, and that factor is his core base of fans. I think partially because of his polarizing sort of personality, if you can call it that, he has attracted some very loyal fans who have been with him for over a few years now, who have watched all of his content and really like what he has to offer. And I think he's really solidified this space even more through his course offerings, where he offers private live streams and other sorts of exclusive content to those people who pay for his courses or sign up for other bonuses. That keeps these people in the loop. If they were ever thinking about leaving, they are really in there now, and they're getting value out of it, obviously, otherwise they would leave, but because they're in that loop and they're very loyal to Kevin, they're going to watch his videos more often than not. And when you have that loyal base, you always have a jolt of views on all of your videos, and then that jolt of views hopefully gets you into the upper levels of the algorithm to where new people can actually watch the videos. I don't think I can really understate the importance of this, and that's really what subscribers are all about. You have your loyal people who watch your videos more often than not, and those loyal people and their view stats will hopefully push it through the upper realms of YouTube, and that's definitely working in Kevin's favor. People feel like they're interacting with someone who's real. He's responding to comments. He's liking comments. He's responding to things that people are saying in his videos. I think that's awesome, and it really creates a unique content tailored to his fans, and then that just keeps growing his base that much more. But I think those first 2 points were kind of obvious in the realm of YouTube success. Pretty much every successful YouTube channel is going to have those 2 things, a unique style or persona, and then a loyal core of fans. This third factor is definitely unique to Kevin, and it goes back to some of his earlier content and even some of his recent content and how he's made a shift. And that shift is moving away from attacks or super harsh critiques on other channels. For those of you who might be newer to Kevin's channel or haven't seen some of his older content, he has actually gone after guys like Dave Ramsey and Grant Cardone pretty extensively in critiquing their businesses, sort of alleging fraud in some cases, or really just going hard at these big players in the personal finance space. Now, these videos actually led to some serious legal trouble for Kevin, where he was actually being sued by both Ramsey and Cardone for his content and his critique of their businesses. I mean, Kevin even dressed up as an elf one time and got a team together, dressed up as elves to go deliver presents to Cardone's team, and they interrupted their business day and everything, and clearly the Cardone team was not happy with this, and it was very disruptive, and they already don't like the guy, so it was very awkward. I mean, it did make for a pretty good video, but it definitely did not help with relations between these two parties. But this sort of content that revolved around this conflict between Dave Ramsey originally, but then later Grant Cardone, made up a large portion of his 2018 and 2019 content, and I think was pretty polarizing at that. Cardone and Ramsey obviously have a lot of fanboys, and that's going to anger them, so that probably didn't help, but I'm sure it helped him get a good number of pretty loyal subscribers who saw his investigation and were like, wow, that's some pretty good value there, and I wouldn't have thought that had Kevin not made this video. So I think that did get him some subscribers initially, but I think once you get past a certain point with subscribers, it starts to cause more harm than good. Now, I'm not saying he's wrong for doing what he did, but I think that the fact that he's moved away from this sort of attack style, this heavy critique style, I think has actually helped his channel now because he's in a much better position with the amount of subscribers he has and his current content base. Now, Kevin did get into a bit of a sparring match with Clear Value Tax, another personal finance YouTuber that focused a lot on the stimulus content that Kevin was also putting out at the same time. Kevin basically called him out for being dishonest and suggested that he was trying to peddle a cryptocurrency that no one had ever heard of. So there was that conflict there, but thankfully that was pretty short-lived, and Clear Value Tax threw shots back. Kevin did a couple counter shots, and then that seemed to be the end of it. But I was afraid that he was getting right back into that sort of conflict-driven material. I think he's gotten really any value that he could have ever squeezed out of these conflicts, and they're very expensive at that. He talked about the legal bills that he had with Grant Cardone and showed how expensive it was to battle this lawsuit that he thought was pretty frivolous. It did get thrown out, but still, it's very expensive, and I don't think it's really worth the risk for someone like Kevin, who already has a big base. He's already making a lot of money. He should just focus on what he's best at, and that's providing value to people with what he knows best. Not to say that he should ever be dishonest, but you get my point. Now, the fourth big reason for Kevin's success goes really without saying in 2020, and that's stimulus videos. In March of 2020, when the pandemic hit the US and the government started talking at length about passing stimulus packages, that's when Kevin really got some serious momentum for his channel. You can see back in 2019 and into 2020, he was getting about 10 to 20,000 subscribers per month, which is great, mind you. So it's not like he was doing poorly before, but you can see what happens when the stimulus hits. Whoa. Now, he may not be at May levels where he netted almost 200,000 subscribers in 1 month, but he's still doing very well, and he sort of leveled up his channel, as you see with a lot of YouTubers who may struggle to gain a lot of momentum. Then they have a few things go viral, and then boom, they're at the next level, and they plateau at a much higher level until they have something else go viral. But some do kind of see that exponential rise very consistently. You think of guys like Graham Stephan and other big YouTubers, but that's kind of where Kevin's at right now. And he's still producing a lot of stimulus-related content, and it's netting him a ton of views still. He does 2 videos every single day just about the stimulus, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Sometimes he does some in the midday. So that is still a big part of his content, and it's driving a lot of his views and new subscriber growth. And this is actually part of Kevin's really interesting approach, where he actually is juggling a few niches at the same time. They're all under the umbrella of personal finance, but he really does have a few niches. One of his original ones is real estate investors and people who are interested in real estate. That is a big niche. He has another one related to stocks and stock investing, people who might not care about real estate, but they like stocks. Then he has another one, like I already mentioned, related to stimulus news, people who might not even care about investing, but just want to know what's happening with the government and the stimulus programs that they're proposing. And he has another sort of niche that he covers with teaching people how to make side businesses and find other ways to boost their income or making different career choices. Each of those niches has its own audience. Some people fall into multiple niches or all of them. So it's been a great way for him to build sort of independent populations that watch his channel. In a way, it's like diversifying his own YouTube portfolio. He has content that stretches across all realms of personal finance, and that allows him to stay nimble even when some content might fall out of demand and others might rise. I think this will definitely help him in the long term, since as people discover his channel, they may discover it through any one of those niches, and then they might discover the other content that he has on other niches, and then they're in the loop. Now, the last big factor that I think is driving Meet Kevin's success is quantity. I already mentioned that he has multiple niches that he's managing, but he's also pumping out about 4 to 5 videos per day right now. Now, this is contrary to a point that Jake Tran made a while back about Graham Stephan's success. For those of you who don't know, Jake Tran has a really great channel where he does entrepreneurial video essays talking about all sorts of different topics, but one of the first videos that he had that went viral was about Graham Stephan's success on YouTube. This is back when Graham only had about 500,000 subscribers, maybe a bit more, I forget when it was exactly, but he talked at length about why he thought Graham Stephan was successful. And he argued that scarcity was one of the reasons that Graham was successful, and that he only posted 3 times a week as opposed to other giant finance YouTubers like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, who would post 7 days a week, and their videos would have comparatively far less views than Graham's. Definitely go check that video out since it is really well done, and all of Jake's videos are actually quite well done, so definitely check out his channel if you're not familiar. But I think Meet Kevin's recent performance really does blow that scarcity point out of the water. He saw a seismic shift in his subscriber growth when he started doing daily news and daily updates and multiple videos per day. This is definitely hard for any YouTuber to sustain without a really great system. Even I have trouble just posting 3 videos per week sometimes. Yet Kevin is out here doing 3 to 4 per day. Remember that subscriber graph I showed you? Well, right around that time when it went vertical was about the same time he started posting every day, multiple times per day. And I think the amount of videos is also a source for extra ad revenue, and let me explain why. Let's say Kevin had the choice to do 1 half-hour video versus 3 10-minute videos. The way viewer retention works on YouTube is that within the first 5 minutes or so, you usually have a lot of people drop off the video by then. And this makes sense. People click on a video looking for an answer to something, or maybe they just want to be entertained, and then if they're not entertained or don't get an answer pretty quickly, or if they just don't like it for some reason, they're usually out of there pretty quickly. Those channels that have really high retention typically do the best naturally, since YouTube will keep giving them people who they think will be retained on their videos longer. Well, with that 1 half-hour video, if you have 1 ad in the middle and then 1 ad at the beginning, if someone leaves after 5 minutes, you only got 1 ad view out of them. Whereas if you have 3 10-minute videos, to watch that ad at the beginning, they only need to click on the video and stay for about a minute each. So you only have 3 minutes of potential retention that you need or so just to get the 3 ad views. Whereas with the 2 ad views with the 30-minute video, you would have needed to have them on that video for about 15 minutes just on that one video to get both ads watched. And I think this is a big reason that Kevin's YouTube revenue has skyrocketed, and that he has many more shorter videos. A lot of them are still plenty over 10 minutes, don't worry about that. But he has so many videos going out that as long as everyone watches about a minute of them at the beginning, that's an extra chance for ad revenue. Whereas if it was just 1 long form video per day, you might have less opportunity for ad revenue just because of that viewer retention stat I mentioned at the beginning. And that has less to do with his subscriber and channel growth and more to do with his revenue growth, but I do think it's important to point out. But to Jake Tran's point about scarcity, I don't think that's the important point. I think the real important point that Kevin and many other successful YouTubers have is consistency. He's posting consistently, and his consistent quality of content is being factored into people's routines every single day, and he's getting more and more of their views. So it's consistency and also being genuine that are the real important factors driving a channel's success, not scarcity. So those are the 5 factors that I think are really driving Meet Kevin's success. Hats off to him for having a wonderful 2020 despite the otherwise unfortunate circumstances for so many people throughout the country and really the world. I hope these lessons can be useful for anyone else who might be trying to start or grow their YouTube channel. I'm definitely paying attention to them and what some of the big and up-and-coming personal finance YouTubers are doing to learn from them, since I have my own personal finance channel here that I obviously want to do well. Speaking of which, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any new updates, since I put out new videos every single week. We like that consistency here on YouTube, so I hope you like it as well. But anyways, that's all I've got for today. If you like this sort of content about analyzing other YouTubers' success, definitely let me know, and I might create more of these videos in the future, so leave a comment below for that. Again, that helps the algorithm, so your comments are always welcome. Just keep them civil, please. And as always, a reminder to check out my book, The One Property Retirement, about a simple strategy for building your retirement nest egg using real estate. It's great for beginners who might be unfamiliar with the process, from finding and vetting a deal and running the numbers to actually going through the buy process and getting to closing, and then maintaining and renting out the property from there. If you're at all interested in real estate, definitely worth checking out. And if you do end up buying the book and giving it a read, please be sure to leave a review on Amazon, as that would help me out a lot. But until next time, take care.